Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold, a Harry Potter podcast, a show for Potter fans of all sorts to tune in and have fun living in the wizarding world just a little more. My name is Barry, and every week I sit down with a new guest host and we go through the Harry Potter books 2 chapters at a time. We also have some fun segments filled with trivia, deep lore, movie changes, and favorite lines. And at the very end of the episode, we have a spoiler section called the Restricted Section. Ooh. This week, we will be covering chapters 15 and 16 of the Chamber of Secrets, and I am joined by Cory, or as many of you may know her, Weasey the Red, a woman of many talents. She is a professional chef and a Potter collector. All right, that's pretty cool. I also need to say, I've had many guests on this show so far, but none of them showed up to a recording this excited and this prepared to talk about Potter. She had a full-on stack of papers as her notes for these 2 chapters. And not only that, but her knowledge of all things Potter was really impressive, and her ability to make references and connections across the series was so cool, and it was really fun getting to talk to somebody like her. So if you like what you hear this episode, make sure you check out her page on Instagram. Just some house housekeeping things for this week. I have 3 items. 1, as usual, you will hear me chime back in to tell you the Quizzitch score and to answer last week's question. 2, Cory is a loving mother to some beautiful little bulldoggies, all right? And you may hear in the background every once in a while the little click, click of their little nails on the floor, but it's precious. And 3, Cory and I talked for a very long time, almost 3 hours, and it was all really wonderful and really enjoyable, and I wish I could include all of it, but I'm trying not to make these episodes quite that long, so you may hear some odd cuts every once in a while, but just know that's all that is. Also, real quick before we get to the episode, I once again want to say thank you so much to all of you out there listening to this podcast and sharing it with your friends. I'm told that word of mouth and good reviews are how podcasts grow. I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of new to it. But if that's the case, y'all must be out there spreading the good word of this podcast, because I can see on my hosting website that I have that there's more and more of you every single week. And that just touches my little Potter heart, and I appreciate it so much. So you guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to this each week, dedicating your time to it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd really love to do a mailbag episode soon where I read your comments, thoughts, and answer some of your questions. I know that sometimes I say that some of you have wrote in and said blank. Well, that's not necessarily a lie. It's only ever been in reference to some of what my close friends have messaged me about. But good news, we did just get our first non-Quizzitch related email this week. The person didn't give me permission to say their name, so I won't do that here. But they gave me a cool explanation of a Potter fun fact that had to do with something from a past episode. So I'll probably read that off on the Best of Book 2 episode coming up in 2 weeks. So yeah, if you guys want anything read off here, if you want to be part of that, feel free to reach out to me, send me a comment or owl post or howler, and sending, your comments, questions, feedback, whatever, sending those to theretoldpodcast@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram at theretoldpodcast. Now, with all that out of the way, time for the episode. Enjoy.
1, 2, 3. Expelliarmus!
I'll be in my bedroom, making no noise and pretending that I don't exist.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Where have you been?
You shall not harm Harry Potter!
50 points and it goes through her head.
I strongly recommend caution.
Scared Potter.
You wish. I didn't know you could read.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Retold, a Harry Potter podcast. This is the podcast where I retell you my favorite story of all time, Harry Potter. And today we are covering chapters 15 and 16 of the Chamber of Secrets, Aragog and the titular Chamber of Secrets. But I'm not on this journey alone. With me today, I have a very special guest, Cory Weasey. Did I say that right? Weasey?
Yep. Very close to Weasley. Yeah. Hi.
Is that your actual last name?
So it's not my last name, but it's a childhood nickname that I grew up with. So it just so happens that it's so close to Weasley that, like, at one point I had a vanity plate for my car and I put Weasey on there and they accidentally accidentally sent me one that said Weasley on it. So yeah.
She must be a Weasey.
Yeah.
It makes me think of spoiler alerts for book 4, but when Dobby's talking to Harry and says, Harry needs his Weasey.
Yes,
needs his
I know,
Weasey.
and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in here.
But yeah, so everybody, this is Cory. She is on Instagram at Weasey The Red. Is it Weasey _ or is it just Weasey The Red?
Yeah, it's Weasey _ red. Yep.
Fantastic. And so first I want her to introduce herself and say a little about who she is. So talk to the people, Cory.
My name's Cory. Formally, or well, not formally, but mostly known as Weasey. I am a Gryffindor through and through, even though sometimes I have Slytherin tendencies. I started this book back in the day in 1997 at the school, like Scholastic Book Fair. My mom bought this book first, and I was like, oh, super lame. And then we kind of just like started reading this book by book when it would come out. And we used to like listen to it on audiobook when we would drive down to the beach, all kinds of stuff. My favorite book of, the series is definitely Deathly Hallows. And specifically, my favorite chapter is definitely The Prince's Tale. I could listen to that over and over again. It's just like such a good, well thought out chapter. I cannot believe how good that chapter is.
The people crying in the movie theater. Like there's still like the way there's YouTube videos of Marvel scenes now on Instagram or on YouTube. That was like one of the first types of movies that like that those YouTube clips would go around of theater reactions to that scene.
I remember seeing that in theaters, and it was just so good. And I think even now, since Alan Rickman's passing and all of these other incredible actors who have passed on, like it's just like so much nostalgia now, but even just such a good like they just did such a great job in the movies for that chapter specifically. But I think that my favorite movie might be either The Half-Blood Prince or Prisoner of Azkaban, just because I feel like every time I watch Prisoner of Azkaban, I always think it's about to end, and then they go back in time, and you're like, oh, even more. It's like, so I love that one. But
yeah, I remember when I was watching that movie the first time, I thought, wow, it's about to be over pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then, and now when I watch it, I think, man, they don't have much time left in the runtime to go back in time,
Yeah.
Do all that stuff. But cool. And so, the other question I want to ask you is, can you tell us a little bit about like you and your Instagram page and the stuff, the Potter related stuff that you do?
Oh, so I like started Instagram back in 2012, but I really started my Potter Instagram in like 2019. 2019 maybe. And I kind of just like switched from, showing basically everything like food and just like me and all of this other stuff to kind of just strictly Harry Potter stuff, because I have a huge collection, and I kind of just like saw the Pottergram and I was like, oh, how cool would it be if I could talk to other people about collections? And like now, 6 years on, I have and I'm very humbly trying to brag, but I have a ton of friends. I have really great, people that I can talk to about specific like prop replicas, and then books, and then, just all kinds of stuff. And I've been on really great trips with these people. You can humbly brag,
but like I'll brag for you. You're like famous to me.
No way. I only have I have like 3,000 followers. I'm just
only
like
3.
I'm just like in a very I got lucky, I think, that like I got brought into a really great group of Potter collectors, and I've just like been able to kind of flourish in that way, and like kind of just have people to talk to, and like not only about Harry Potter stuff, but about other things too. Like I've created such good, deep friendships with people that all just came from me posting stuff online about Harry Potter. And it's been really, really nice because, again, I just have really great memories with all of these friends, and I'm, you know, making other plans and like doing more Harry Potter stuff. And it's just like, you know, it's just such a cool thing to do in your 30s. It's just like, you know, my 16-year-old self was like, oh, that's stuff's so lame. Like, why would I ever want to read a book? And now I'm like, actually, all of these things are great. And like, you know, I'm just really becoming my true self because of the Pottergram. So I just really enjoy that part of it. But
That's a cool little flip that, you know, when you're a teenager, you like hide your interests kind of, at least a lot of us did. And now as an adult where it's like, I want to hang out with people who are into what I'm into. Like, I don't want to have to fake it anymore. Like, and that's one of like,
and I did not take my parents' advice to not talk to people on the internet. Like,
very
don't talk to
different
strangers. And I'm like, yeah, this is a very different internet than the ASL internet back in, you know, the early 2000s. But
it's like, don't get me wrong. The awful and scary stuff is still out there. But
of course,
we got Pottergram out there now. You know? Yeah,
so we get to have fun on that part. And of course, there are dark parts of the Pottergram, but I just try to stay away from them. I just try
dark parts of the Potter. It's Nocturnally over there.
Yeah, there is a Nocturnally on Pottergram, and fortunately for me, I haven't really come across it that much. But I do know people who have, and you know, there's like scammers out there, that sort of thing. So, you know, I try to do my best to just, you know, be nice and show cool stuff without being like super braggy. You know, I do have a lot of really cool things that I want to show off, but I also
have a lot
like,
of cool stuff. Listeners can't see it right now. Like maybe on like the if we do any YouTube clips of this, but she's got so many cool stuff on the wall behind her. Tons of Harry, the non-meltable snowman from Hogsmeade. Hi, guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the idea of Potter collector is so like cool to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll go to Universal every once in a while, or when the Harry Potter exhibit came through Atlanta, I was, you know, buying stuff, and I'll get myself a little trinket every now and then, like a little treat. Yes, a little treat myself. And but I look at your wall and I just think, holy crap, that's so many cool things back there. You got the mounted sword of Gryffindor.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, I really started fully collecting when I was like coming out of high school, so like 2007, 2008, and then I was having like a kind of adult money where I was like working a job, but I was still living at home. So I was like, oh, I'm going to buy this, like this Amazon thing. This was like my first big collectible. It's like the book set with the Monster Book of Monsters. It was like specific to only Amazon, and this was before Prime. This was like when kind of still ordering things off the internet was a little scary. But like I just remember having a full-on panic attack because I bought this. It was like $600, and I was like, "Don't worry, you're like a collector now. This is fine. Everything's fine." And like
this is what
now
I do.
This is like me now. This is it. And you know, I have a lot of really cool. Like my main focus for my collection specifically is actual props that were used in the movies and prop replicas, and then
do you have a prop
books
that was used in the movie?
Yeah, I actually have one of the dirigible plums. I also have a bunch of like paper products too. So like a quibbler. I have a couple other things, and like I also have things like cast and crew gifts that I also really like to collect. There's a golden snitch that was only given out to cast and crew, and then like a divination set, just like a lot of like kind of random but extremely rare things.
So when you say that, like the thing that went through my head, later in the series, it is, and I'll try not to say too many spoiler things, but it's mentioned that there's some people who are under the belief that Muggleborns stole magic, and that's how they have their magic. And they're being questioned, like, who did you steal your wand from? Who did you steal your magic from? And so when you say only cast and crew got this, my thought was, who did you steal it from? Who did you take it from?
It's so funny because like these things, they do come up for auction and stuff, but I also, again, because of Pottergram, I kind of just like infiltrated into these people's minds,
auction.
And I was like,
that
how cool would it be? Yeah. So, you know, I've gotten really lucky in trying to find these things, like very niche kind of things with, you know, certificates of authenticity and those sorts of things. But, you know, the prop replicas are definitely my favorite things to buy.
If this isn't wrong of me to ask. I'm curious, what is the most expensive thing you have in your collection?
So, I have a lot of, again, like I just said, very humbly bragging, but I do have a lot of one-of-a-kind things, and some things just don't have a price tag because there's just nothing to compare it to, kind of. But I do have 3 of the advanced reader copies of Chamber of Secrets and
Wow.
2 copies of Prisoner of Azkaban, because after Prisoner of Azkaban, they stopped doing the advanced reader copies because people would spoil it for other people. And this was before like Instagram and true social media at that point. So like, I can't imagine how like terrible it was to get a spoiler from, you know, walking around in Barnes and Noble or seeing it in the newspaper or seeing it in a magazine or something like that. And like just being so upset that you got this spoiler. But those 3, I actually got those from another collector who has a lot of, who mostly, you know, collects rare books. Like that's kind of like his big thing. But I got lucky in those ones too, again, because I just kind of just put myself out there and was just like, hi, do you want to be friends with me? Basically. And it was either a yes or a no. And it's kind of just like, well, okay.
That's so cool. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing some of your collection with us.
Of course.
Listeners, I really encourage you to go check out her Instagram page, Weasey_the_red. It is such a, like, we were talking about it before the pod, but like a cool mashup of like a wide range of content. Because I'll see, you know, the most cute little adorable Harry Potter thing, and you're also a professional chef, right?
I am. Yep.
And so then I'll see
In
stuff
my
about
muggle
that.
job.
And then today or the other day, you posted a picture with Harry Potter picture, but the music for it was freaking Downfall of Us All by A Day to Remember.
Yeah.
So I know some of my listeners will be like, what is that? It's
Go
awesome
listen to it
band,
while you're
everybody.
driving somewhere. It's like a perfect driving song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't blame me for your speeding ticket, okay?
Well, without further ado, are you ready to talk about some chapters today?
I am so ready.
All right. But before we get to that, it's time for Quizzitch. And so,
Okay.
listeners, what's about to go on here is I'm going to ask Cory 2 questions. She's going to ask me 2 questions. And this is an ongoing challenge I have with my co-hosts every single week of who knows more about Harry Potter. You know, we did it for season 1 all through book 1, and now we're doing it through book 2. At the end of each season, we see who knows more about Harry Potter, me or my guest hosts. Cory, how about you ask me your question first?
Okay. All right. So I do have 2 questions. Do you want the
Fantastic.
easier one or the harder one first?
Let's do the easier one first.
Okay. What is Gilderoy Lockhart's favorite color?
Gilderoy Lockhart's favorite color? Lilac?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
You
I was
did
like,
it.
it's either lilac or like Forget Me Not Blue. That one's always mentioned. I think that's the color
I mean,
of his
that's
eyes.
very, very close, but not correct.
All right. So my question for you is, what game were Harry, Fred, George, and Ginny playing in the common room in this chapter? Do you remember what the game was?
It wasn't Exploding Snap because it makes a lot of noise when they play Exploding Snap.
Are you
right?
sure?
Is it Exploding Snap?
Ding, ding, ding. That's correct. It's
Okay.
Exploding Snap.
That's funny because like they play Exploding Snap a lot in these, and you would think that it would be Wizard's Chess, but it's okay because that's a little bit quieter for the vibe. Like, but it's Fred and George.
This is still before things went south.
Yeah.
only a few people had been like almost killed. They didn't care at that point.
Yeah, like Hermione was still alive, so it's fine.
Yeah. What's your other question?
What is Aragog's wife's name?
Mossag.
Oh, good job. Is it because you just read this chapter?
It's because it was a question for you.
Oh, okay. See, that one is a great one, though.
Yep. Okay. luckily I had a backup question for you.
Okay, cool.
So this is good. What does Ron do with Lockhart's wand whenever he catches it?
What does he do with Lockhart's wand?
This is a very hard question, so I apologize.
Oh, when he catches it. Okay,
Like so,
spoiler.
so Harry. Yeah, we can talk about everything that happens in these two chapters.
Okay.
So yeah, so Harry Expelliarmuses Lockhart later, and Ron catches it, and then he does something with it.
Doesn't he throw it?
He throws it right out the window. Ding,
yeah,
ding, ding.
Because he's just like
right
which
on
is
out
great.
of there.
Yeah.
Well then, score stays the same, 2-2. You did great.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm a little ticked off because I didn't close the cap at all. This isn't going to end well. But for the audience, your Quizzitch question this week is, what was Harry trying to turn into? Hold on, what did I write down? Oh yeah, what was he trying to turn into slippers in Transfiguration class?
This one is so cool. Oh, okay.
So you can't answer that, all right?
Okay, I was just about to. Close one.
But there you go. That's your question, everybody, this week. What was Harry trying to turn into slippers in Transfiguration class? If you want to answer that, you can write into theretoldpodcast@gmail.com or message me on Instagram at theretoldpodcast. And without further ado, not so fast. We do have one more ado, actually. And that is to let you know what the current score is of the Quizzitch competition. And after this week's showdown, the score as it stands is, drumroll please, 16-17, with guests maintaining their 1-point lead. Good job, guests. You are representing the world quite well this season. Now to answer your question from last week, which was, how does Ginny describe Harry's eyes in the poem that she wrote about him? And the answer to that question was, she said his eyes were as green as a fresh pickled toad. Ooh, spicy. Anyway, that's all I got, since I did, in fact, remember to tell you all your Quizzitch question for this week in this episode already, right? I almost never remember to do that. Good job, Barry. Thank you, audience. That's called growth. Anyway, back to the show. We're going to hop into our coverage of this chapter. And again, listeners, just so you know the rundown, Cory and I will recap everything that happens in this chapter. Now, again, Cory, I'll be talking a lot. Feel free to hop in, to interrupt, to say whatever, to comment on anything, or just let me ramble. Doesn't matter. So we'll walk through this chapter, and then at the end we'll have our fun little segments of our favorite lines, and we'll say which lines were our favorites throughout. We'll have our Transfiguration section, which is changes from books to movie. And then we will have our golden snitch section, which are, little lore grabs, behind the scenes things, stuff that like the average fan might not know about or pick up on.
Love the golden snitch ones. Because that's like my vibe. I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, did you know this?
Pausing the movie.
Oh my gosh, so many people are like, I'm not watching this movie with you because you're annoying.
I know. I feel like I did such a disservice to my wife the first time, because she had never seen these movies when we went through the first time, and I was like, I definitely was that person.
You're
on
just
her first
watching
watch
her
through.
watch the movie. Yeah, literally just like posted up sitting next to her.
It's like she didn't react right. What did
like, did you see that part? Come on.
And then we'll do everything the same for the next chapter, same segments at the end. And then at the very end of the podcast, we'll have our restricted section where we'll talk about spoilers relating to the rest of the book and the rest of the series. And again, it's just to keep the vibe of the book alive and, keep a little whimsy and fun, because that's the theme of this podcast. We want to keep the magic alive, have fun. We'll critique a little bit, but it's mainly, we just want to enjoy the Wizarding world just a little more. So here we go. Some of my opening thoughts as we hop in are, I wrote down 2 things: Aragog rocks and lots of dog stuff in this chapter.
I know. I'm so glad that I got this chapter, because I love Fang's main character element in this, because he's a big part in Chamber of Secrets, and then it kind of just dies down throughout the rest of the series. There are little tidbits he's still there, but he has a full main character moment in this.
Yeah, I love I didn't make a note of it, but one of my favorite Fang moments was when they get back and he runs back into the cabin and he gets in his basket and crawls under the blanket by himself.
He's like, I'm so done. Please don't ever make me do that again.
This was not what I signed up for.
He's like, where's my dad?
So let's hop into it. Things aren't looking good. Hags is gone. Dumby's gone. Hermione got, and it's a low point for sure. Pomfrey won't let them in to see Hermione for good reason, though. She's like, we all think it's you, Harry, so get out of here.
Do you really think that Madame Pomfrey thinks that it's Harry?
I think she's taking no chances. She's like, this boy speaks parcel tongue. Nuh-uh. She don't play around.
She's got like her little microscope on him. Oh, I wonder if that's what they talk about in the staff room. They're just like, is it actually Harry? And McGonagall is like full on, just like, absolutely not. And then Snape's like, yeah, probably though.
Yeah, and yeah, Snape's just, I think it's Potter for sure. I wrote down that I like this laughter line because it says that it's like describing the atmosphere of the school. And it says that there are people in the hallways. If ever there's laughter, it sounds weird and it's hushed up immediately. And
yeah.
I was like, it's such good writing and I can really sense the vibe of what's going on in the school. But like, I can relate to that of laughing when you're not supposed to. Because you can just picture you and your friends walking around Hogwarts and somebody might have said something funny. And like you're trying to laugh, or trying not to laugh. And you see somebody walk by who maybe a friend of theirs got petrified. And it's like, bro, you can't be happy around them. Stop laughing right now.
Yeah. And I like that she says that it sounded shrill and unnatural because like you said, it's like such a well-written kind of line to make you feel like, oh, this is like, it's kind of like a library throughout where you're not supposed to be laughing in there. And of course, Madam Pince would be like, what are you doing? But
not good times at Hogwarts High.
Yeah, Hogwarts High. I do like that they continually reference Dumbledore and like how this is like such a big deal that Dumbledore's gone and now everybody's even more afraid because everybody looks up to Dumbledore. Even, I mean, mostly Harry, like this is like his shining light. But I mean, I'm going to go on to the next one, but it's just like Harry constantly repeated Dumbledore's final words to himself. I'll only truly have gone from this school when none here are loyal to me. Help will always be given at Hogwarts for those who ask for it. I just love that line also, like help will always be given at Hogwarts for those who ask for it. Because like, this is just like a little cherry on top for Dumbledore, where he knows that they're in the room, but nobody else knows that they're in the room. And he knows how hard this is going to hit Harry and be like, Dumbledore's really spitting lines right now.
Write that down, write that down.
Write that down. It's just like, like Ron is Patrick and Harry's SpongeBob. But
I do like though that like Harry in this moment just says, yeah, fat load of good that's doing me right now. Like those are just words is what
he's like, who am I supposed to even be asking for help? He's like, what does that even mean? But he does still like keep this as a mantra, even though he doesn't really truly understand what Dumbledore is saying, but he fully trusts Dumbledore in every sense of the word, where he is trying to kind of like figure this riddle out that he kind of gave him. Because like it's not really a riddle, but like Harry thinks that it is. He's like, what was he trying to say to me?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a common theme throughout this series. It's just like Dumbledore just never says what he actually means. He's always like in riddles and always is trying to kind of like not trick Harry per se, but like
leave him breadcrumbs to get him to get to the answer.
So that he can take that pride in being like, oh, I figured it out kind of thing. So it's kind of just building his character up a little bit. Like Harry
I won't do it for you, boy. You have to figure it out yourself. I'm not your daddy. But anyway, I like how he goes, you know, like at least Hagrid said some actual advice. You know, he said to look for the spooters, but they can't find anybody or find any of them. And Ron's just like, oh, rats, no spiders.
He's like, oh, no, I was definitely looking for them. Of course, I was. I definitely was looking.
I also made a note that says, also, Draco sucks. He's gloating about his dad getting Dumbledore kicked out.
This is just like such a Malfoy thing, though, because Draco has no actual idea what's going on, but he's so pompous and like, and I mean, I'm kind of going to go off on a tangent right now, but people think that like Draco is kind of like abused in some way, Whereas I believe that Draco has just been so loved so hard as a rich, well-known family, that he grew up as the only child, so he needs to be the prodigy in their family, basically, and he just wants his dad's approval and stuff. But he's just making his personality basically off his parents' personality.
Yeah.
So this is what his dad's like. He's just like, oh well, my dad has always said that Dumbledore's the worst thing that's ever happened to this school, and like basically trying to like pump up Snape at the same time, because these are exactly the same things that he thinks his dad would do.
It's like, and again, we don't like really get political on the pod, but it's just like a kid who like in elementary school hears their dad talking about whatever political side they vote for, and then he gets to school not knowing a daggum thing, just going, I think we should vote for this person. I don't know why we would ever follow this person.
Exactly. I mean, like me as a kid, like I remember very specifically like thinking about John Kerry as a child, like, and like around Draco's age. And I was just like, John Kerry sucks. I didn't even know what this man looked like, but like, it's just like, what the hell? But I do think that.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I remember one time with my grandfather, he had like a news channel on, and I don't even remember what the election was. It might have been the Kerry one, but whichever one it was, I forget who he was talking about, but he said, if this person gets voted for, then we're going to lose all our rats. It's
and like as a child, you're like, oh my God.
What's going to happen? There's the moment where he's like brown-nosing Snape, saying like, I think you should be headmaster, Snape, and all this stuff. And I honestly,
because this is his friend's bestie, or his dad's bestie.
Did not think that Snape would like go for that kind of brown nosing. Like I thought Snape would be like Draco, shut up. Like that's too extreme enough. But I guess Snape is just like, yes, lauded on me.
He was like, actually, LOL. Well, maybe because Snape knows that Draco is talking to his dad all the time, that this could be something that Lucius had said to Draco, and now so he's like, spouting it back, and Snape's fair. Like, cool.
So Malfoy also says he's sad Hermione didn't die. That's disgusting, and Ron has to be held back from beating him,
which I love.
Yeah, I think Ron would have won that. No wands.
Yeah,
I think without Crabbe and Goyle and no wands, I think Ron's taking him.
I do love it. He's like, I don't need. Yeah, he's like, I don't care. I don't need my wand. I'm going to kill him with my bare hands. Like, hell yeah.
Snape has to take them to herbology because teachers have to walk students to classrooms now, which that could be a long walk if like two houses have to go to different classes. And then I thought, what if a teacher isn't there, like at the class waiting, but like let's say Snape goes to herbology and Sprout is at potions because she walked her class to potions. It's like a better system needs to be worked out.
How did this work? It's like, why do we not have like guards or something like walking around with these children, or like someone who's not teaching right now?
Yeah. I also think this one's funny to me. Ernie apologizes to Harry in herbology class and then immediately gets to gossiping. He's like, Harry, I'm so sorry. I thought it was you. So anyway, I think it was that Malfoy guy.
Yeah. But I actually really just love this part because like, it shows a lot of humility in Ernie's, like as a 12-year-old being like, hey, I was wrong and I'm really sorry that I did that to you, kind of thing. Because like, he was such a jerk. He was so mean to him. He's
I think
like,
Harry
I know
as a baby killed Voldemort.
Yeah, and it's just like, what? But I do like that she put this in here because like it kind of gives you that like, oh, like he knew he was wrong and he said it out loud in front of everybody. Not like, oh, I saw him like in the bathroom and I kind of like was like, hey, can I talk to you really quick? He like did it in public so that everybody could hear him. Hannah's sitting right next to him and was kind of like, Harry, just to let you know, I'm really sorry. I was wrong about you.
Yeah, like, it's like kind public, of like public offenses should have public apologies. So I like how these books oftentimes like kind of teach kids a good bit of like emotional maturity, especially like in Harry's inner monologue and how like Hermione interacts with other people. Like there's tons of moments that like are good for young readers to understand. And like, I mean,
Yeah.
I know I learned a lot of my morality from the Harry Potter books. I do like, you know, when Ernie suspects Malfoy and brings it up to Harry and Ron, both of them are like, no, what a dumb idea. Why would you ever think it was Malfoy? Good news, though. They do see some spiders. Yay. And where are they going, you might ask? To the Dark Forest. Double yay.
Yay.
Ron's not too excited about that. But in Defense Against the Dark Arts class, Harry's like, no worries. We'll take Fang with us and we'll go check it out. Solid plan, right? And Lockhart is super hype about Hagrid's arrest. I hate these moments
so
where
annoying.
He's just like, guys, don't even worry. They got the guy. It's not going to happen anymore. So Hagrid's
and he's like, I think that I know a little bit more than you. And it's just like,
yes.
Oh. And I do love the part where he's like, it irritated Harry so much that he yearned to throw gadding with ghouls right in Lockhart's stupid face.
Right when he like touches his nose and he's like, I fancy that I flatter myself to say that I know a touch more about Hagrid than you do.
My God, so annoying.
So none of the kids believe him though, and they're right to not to.
Yeah.
I also like that his pompousness is enough to invigorate Harry to be like, bro, we ride tonight. Like it's going down.
We're doing it.
And there's this really cool Ron moment where like, he's a little hesitant, but he looks at Hermione's empty seat next to him and it invigorates him. And he's like, you know what? Bet.
It's so emotionally charged for me now because like me as a kid, I was just like, yeah, my friend is gone. But like now it's just like, our friend is like in the hospital wing, could have died. And like, this is Ron's greatest fear. Okay. In the next book, spoiler alert, you see that his greatest fear is a spider. And like, he's literally going to do this for his friend. But I just love this part because it shows that, you know, Ron is brave and he really truly cares about Hermione and that he is extremely loyal to Harry too, because even in the part where we were just talking about Ernie like kind of being like, hey, I'm sorry, and Harry instantly like, you know, taking his apology and Ron just being like, no, not yet, kind of. He's like, you didn't prove to me that you're
it's his
loyal to
Hufflepuff
Harry like I am.
coming through. He's so loyal to his friends.
And I love that part.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely one of my favorites of the chapter. So they wait out in the common room for everyone to go to bed. Fred, George, and Jenny must think they suck at exploding snaps because it says they like lose on purpose in order to keep it going or in order to get them out of there quickly. Finally, everyone went to bed, so they put the cloak on and they managed to sneak through the castle and out to Hagrid's hut. Honestly, teachers and prefects stink at security.
Yeah, they're really bad. I kind of want, or even like the portraits. There's portraits everywhere. You don't see this child.
I'm literally just thinking, guys,
but
just
they are under
place
the
somebody
invisibility cloak.
But even then, I'm just thinking, just place somebody at the portrait. Like place them in front of the portrait if you see it open.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I
like,
wonder if
no, leave that one alone.
I wonder if this part where Fred and George challenge Harry and Ron to a few games of Exploding Snap, I wonder if they're doing this to kind of like alleviate the tension between them, because I'm sure that Fred and George, being Fred and George, they can see that Harry and Ron are like sad and upset, like their best friend is gone.
Yeah.
And so like I wonder if this is kind of like their way of being like, even though they're losing, like we'll still play until like they're done playing.
Imagine if like in Fred and George's head, you know, I can like, easily see them going
brothers.
Like, yeah, we're, you know what? Our bro's really down. The girl that he's crushing on, you know, she's in the hospital. Let's go cheer him up. And they're playing and they're trying to lose because they want to cheer him up.
They're doing even worse.
They're doing it even worse. So just back like, gosh, dang, we can't even.
You're just like, wow, they're actually really bad. But like, I do think that
That's funny.
In my opinion, I think that this is kind of Fred and George's way to kind of alleviate the tension, because they're always that kind of like comic relief, and they're just trying to be helpful and trying to not keep them like in the dark a little bit. And I like that they kind of like are like, let's play a game until we fall asleep because games are fun and we love fun. And I just really like that part because it's very Fred and George coded.
Yeah, they're a big part in in this second book, and especially the next book too. But so they sneak out to Hagrid's hut, and Fang is hyped to see them, and they feed him just as Hagrid asked. I like it. You know, it said they fed him like a treacle tart or something, and it like shut his fang, like his jaw.
Just
shut.
like, okay.
Yeah. when they go into the forest, they leave the cloak. I wrote this in all caps. So I was like, why are you leaving the cloak? Because it said like, it's not going to do them any good in the forest. And I was like, are you sure about that? I don't
I think
know.
that they're just thinking about getting in trouble with the humans inside. That they're not even thinking about like what could potentially attack them in the forest.
Like they left the cloak. Harry left the cloak in book 1 on top of the astronomy tower,
Yes,
and it was
that
the
was so
worst he ever got
dumb.
in trouble. And I'm just thinking, bruh,
Yep.
you need to like have a special pouch and keep that sucker with you on all times.
Yeah.
Anyway, they roll out into the forest. They take Fang with them. Harry lights his wand with the Lumos, and you know what? I legit think we'll talk about this in Golden Snitches. I think this is the first mention of Lumos in the series. I was like,
Ooh.
certainly not. But I did like a word search and I did not find it in the first book.
Even in the first book?
Yeah. I was like, listeners,
Well,
if
they
I'm
do
wrong, you can
Lumos
write in and
Solem
tell
in
me.
the book. Or do they do Lumos Solem?
No, Hermione does that's like a misdirection.
That's a
like,
movie thing, right?
Yeah. In the books, she says some fancy little spell, but
right. It's like a poem kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry, what am I thinking? In the books, she lights her little bluebell flames. Like she does those fire, those blue flames.
Right.
But yeah, so I legit think this might be the first mention. So
Cool.
somebody will write in and tell me if I'm wrong though. Anyway, Harry lights his wand. Ron's like, yeah, I'd do that too, but I'd definitely mess it up. Like my wand would explode.
It would blow something up.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a really great foreshadowing part here.
Yeah.
Because like I would literally a very extremely simple spell. Good thinking. I'd like mine too, but it would probably blow up or something.
Interesting. Curious phrasing. As they travel, the spiders go off path, and Harry thinks of the time that Hagrid told him to never go off the path. And he goes, but Hagrid ain't here right now, so let's do it.
He's like, so whatever. I'm trying to help Hagrid.
That's right. And Ron's just like, sure. And we get like moments to talk about his high-pitched voice. And I think movie Ron, like Rupert Grint, did such a good job.
Good. Yes. Of that terror. Yes. The terrified Ron is hilarious.
Eventually, they hear something crashing through the branches. And what is it? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the car. Mr. Weasley's enchanted flying car has been in the forest this whole time. And Ron is hype about this. I like the line where it mentions how they like approach like a giant turquoise dog. That's how like the car like comes towards
I love
him.
that part. And because like I can just see the car kind of like moving its wheels back and forth and kind of like moving like it's wagging its tail or something.
And later,
I just
like
love
Harry
that.
pets it, as if it's a dog as well.
And I do love how they kind of like personified this car to where you feel like emotionally attached to the car now, where you're just like, oh my god, it's like a cute little puppy, and like so now you're excited about the car.
Yeah, and Ron when they approach each other, Ron says, like, look at all the mud and scratches, like the forest has turned it wild. And I just pictured the car going like, me, Ford Anglia, you, Ron. Before they can get too excited, though, Harry, Ron, and Fang all get yoinked up off the ground and carried by some giant spooters. I felt terrible for Fang in this moment because you hear his little yelpies, and I was like, don't you hurt that dog. Made me think of that website.
He's not even here on purpose.
I know. Made me think of that one website, Does the Dog Die? Have you heard of that website?
Oh my god, I know. I need to make sure that I always look at that. I will not watch Marley and Me because of that. I will not. I won't do it.
Listeners, if you don't know, it's a website that you can like look at, like check movies out to see if the dog dies in the movie. I remember growing up, for me, the two of the worst things were like, does the dog die and does the old person die? I don't want to watch those two things happen.
Yeah.
I remember watching that. What was that volcano movie where like the grandma gets out of the boat and like her legs start to burn? Like Pompeii or so. I don't even know. But
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're taken to a giant hollow filled with tons and tons of spooters of all sizes. It's basically nightmare fuel, like the way it's described.
I know, and like the way that she describes the clicking is terrifying.
Snip, snip, snip. Oh, picture Daniel Radcliffe in movie 6.
It's so funny.
It's a lot less scary when you think of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the squad is set down, and the spooters call out to their papa. The Spider King, a.k.a. Daddy Longlegs, a.k.a. Aragog. Aragog, who is described as blind and the size of a small elephant, is like, yo, what up? And one spider says, we got people, Pop. And Aragog, he says this really funny line where he's like, I was sleeping.
I know, this is very me. If you try to wake me up before like 9 a.m. at any point in time, it's just like, kill them. I was sleeping.
Yeah,
and then like he just turns around and goes back to sleep. I'm like, that is very on brand for me.
Yeah, kill them. I was sleeping. He asks if it's Hagrid.
Stop waking me up.
Harry's like, but I know Hagrid. Does that count? And
he's like, Hagrid's in trouble.
Yeah, and there's this funny note about Harry like not being able to stand up, because it says like he wanted to stand up, but he felt like his legs wouldn't support him. So he has this whole conversation sitting on his butt like a child, just in front of this giant spider, like, Aragog.
Yeah. I kind of imagine him like kind of sitting down on his knees, like looking up at him. And I just like Aragog clicked his pincers furiously, and all around the hollow, the sound was echoed by the crowd of spiders. It was like applause, except for applause didn't usually make Harry feel sick with fear.
Yes, I love that line. That's a really cool written line. So they talk, and Harry's like, yo, Hags is in trouble. Aragog says, again? And Harry's like, were you the monster from the chamber? No offense if so, by the way. Just checking. Also, did Hagrid open up the chamber? We just want to know. And Aragog's like, heck nah, I ain't from here. He's like, I'm not British, bro. The heck, I ain't one of them.
I like this little line that says, a traveler gave me to Hagrid when I was an egg. And a lot of people say that this could have been Newt, because apparently Newt and Hagrid had like corresponded from Dumbledore, because Dumbledore knew Newt and got Hagrid connected with
Dumbledore's
Newt.
like, you need a friend. You should talk to this guy.
Literally anybody that's not me. So that's what I think maybe this could be, that like a traveler, because Newt never stays in one place and he's got a suitcase all the time. So like maybe Aragog kind of like took it as he's a traveler because he has a suitcase.
That's a really good catch. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aragog says, I ain't from here. I'm not British. And Hagrid definitely didn't open the chamber. He's cool. He took care of me. He gave me nummies. He even found me a wife. So pretty sick guy. And, Harry's like, okay, cool. So, again, just checking, but you never attacked anyone? And Aragog's like, nope, I wanted to.
He's getting like more and more pissed.
I just like when he says that he didn't attack anybody, he was like, I wanted to. Don't get me wrong. I definitely wanted to.
Yeah, but I did it because
humans.
I liked Hagrid.
Some girl did die in a bathroom though. Crazy, right? Anyway, and Harry asks him, what did do the killing? And Aragog says, boy, I didn't even tell Hagrid that. What makes you think I'll tell you? Harry's like, that's fair.
I do like that they say we do not speak of it, and then Harry is like, it sounds like a monster Voldemort.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good connection that Harry makes, almost kind of like immediately when later on in this, but
makes me wonder, honestly, who's in the chamber.
Ooh, that could be a really good like foreshadowing part too, but like just the way that Harry can kind of, he always puts himself down saying that Hermione is more like smart than him. She's more logistical than him. But like, there's no way I would have remembered any of this, sitting in front of this scary monster. Yeah, and like, you want me to remember this? Like sitting down later?
I get so sick and tired of like, I hear so many people dog on Harry's intelligence and say how he's not quick on the uptake. I'm like, guys, he's one of the smartest people out there, all right? So we get to the point in the conversation. I love this. Aragog seemed to be tired of talking. And again, more relatable Aragog lines.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wrote this down. I wrote, attempted child murder aside, Aragog is cool. And I think it's just because these lines are like relatable about him of like, I'm sleepy.
I'm sleepy. Please make them go away.
Yeah. Anyway, Harry being a good guest, he sees that his host is getting sleepy and he's like, you know what? You're looking a little tired.
Go.
It's time to get out of your hair. And Aragog's like, nah, man, stay for dinner. We'll be having you.
You.
And all the spooters start to attack. And this scene is like the writing in this is also terrifying, where Harry spun around. Feet away, towering above him, was a solid wall of spiders, clicking their many eyes gleaming in their many eyes gleaming in their ugly black heads. Even as he reached for his wand, Harry knew it was no good. So again,
scary.
Awful. It's like, how's he going to get out of this one?
Mm-hmm.
But at that moment, they are saved. The Ford Anglia shows up. It is described as like racing down a slope, like freaking Gandalf and the Rohirrim in the Battle of Helm's Deep. If anybody catches that reference. I do
such
picture,
a good reference too,
right? Because it's like literally when it said it was racing down a slope
with the
that's
light
what I
too. It's just like, how Gandalf is like so bright too. That's exactly what the Ford Anglia is like, because it even says like headlamps glaring, horns screeching.
When the car skirts in front of them and open up its doors, it's like, fly, you fools! We got to get out of here.
Get out of here.
I do picture like the Dukes of Hazzard horn going as it's coming down the thing too.
Yeah.
So it knocks a bunch of the spiders out of the way. It when it gets in front of the boys, it like screeches to a stop and kicks open the doors like a boss. We got to get out of here. Harry says, "Grab Fang." So he remembered Fang. I like that.
Thank
and
God.
They roll out. The car takes them to safety outside the forest. When it comes to a halt, Fang is throwing himself at the doors. Like he's like, "Let me out of here."
Yeah.
And when Harry opens up the door, he sprints back to Hagrid's. Fang does. And I was just like, "Oh, poor little guy." Harry goes, gives the car a pat, like a good boy car. And he should be giving that pat to Fang, but okay.
But he ran away, so he couldn't.
Right. He does remember his cloak this time. Says he goes to Hagrid's hut to get the cloak. Fang does not want to talk to him. I should also mention that Ron throws up some in the pumpkin patch. That's gross.
Which is very on brand. But again, he's literally facing his biggest fear. And did he actually think he was going to come across these giant spiders? I don't think so.
He was really hoping they wouldn't. But yeah, after Ron throws up and wipes his mouth, they sneak back off to the castle. They make it back to the common room and they head to bed. Ron doesn't even change. He just lays in bed. I could never,
exhausted.
Yeah, I could never do that. Sometimes I put off going to bed because I'm so tired, but I don't want to put in the effort of changing and brushing teeth. I need to summon that energy up. So I couldn't do that.
I do get that though, because he didn't even fold down the covers. He literally just I'm imagining him just face planting and just full, not even trying to breathe. He's like, if I ever have to do that again, I'm done.
I hate being Harry's friend. This is awful.
It's like, why did I talk to him?
But Harry's thinking and he has a brain blast. He's like, "Hey, Aragog said that girl died in a bathroom. What if she never left?" And Ron takes a moment and then he's like, "What? It's Myrtle." And that's the end of the chapter. Yay. All right.
And I do like that Ron is the one that's just you don't think that it's moaning Myrtle. Because again, we're trying to, downgrade from Hermione's smartness. But, Harry and Ron are also extremely smart, but they have different ways of being smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're so good as a trio, is because they all have really good, qualities about them, while,
Ron is definitely smart. They take a lot of his lines away in the movies, but in the books, he's incredibly knowledgeable of the wizarding world. And he's a lot better, socially than is given him credit. We get that line later of the emotional range of a teaspoon, but it's not true. All right. He knows how to interact and be a bro. So good on him. All right. And now moving on to our favorite lines of the chapter. I got a few. Do you got a few?
Yeah.
All right. So how about we bounce back and forth. So you say one and then I'll say one.
Okay. You go first.
All right. I think, I already mentioned it before, but just to read it. Ron read the message, swallowed hard, and looked sideways at the empty seat usually filled by Hermione. The sight seemed to stiffen his resolve, and he nodded. I love that one so much. Again, this is the Ron episode. Makes sense when I'm here with Weasey the Red.
Yeah.
But go Ron.
Gotta
I love
support my
that
bro.
moment.
Yeah.
What about you? Which one do you got?
So again, I said this earlier when we were discussing it, but help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. And while I did kind of touch on this when we were first talking about it, it's more just the like action of asking for help that like is this like the big part of this, because like a lot of people, me included, like I don't like asking for help, but no one knows that you're going to need help unless you ask for it. I use it a lot in my day-to-day.
That's very good. I like that too. Another one I had was when they go to Hagrid's hut. When Harry pushed the door open, Fang went mad with joy at the sight of them. And so I just, yay, Fang. I love that. Again, small little line, but I just love Fang barking and going crazy. It even says afterwards, worried he might wake everyone at the castle with his deep booming barks, they hastily fed him treacle toffee from a tin on the mantelpiece, which glued his teeth together.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And then again, right afterward, come on, Fang, we're going for a walk, said Harry, patting his leg, and Fang bounded happily out of the house behind him. Like, oh, and then it says, he dashed to the edge of the forest and lifted his leg against a large sycamore tree.
I know, such a dog thing.
That's
He's just
my
like,
dog.
we're going on a trip. Yeah.
What's one you got?
So mine isn't far away from that one, but it's kind of when Harry and Ron are like at the edge of the Forbidden Forest. And Harry turns to Ron and says, what do you reckon? And, you know, he can only just kind of see Ron, and I'm sure that his face is absolutely just kind of like stone-faced with like this resolve and just being like, and Harry's like, what do you reckon? And Ron says, we've come this far. So like, let's not stop now. Even if we're terrified, we have to do this now. Like, we're already here. We have to. And that's it. I mean, I'm going to just keep going on about Ron because, like, I'm a Ron stan, okay? But
no, I like that line a lot, too. Another one I had was, as Ron walked, again, more Ron, open mouth toward it, it moved slowly toward him, exactly like a large turquoise dog greeting its owner. So, again, we made mention of that, but really enjoyed that one. You got any more?
let me see.
I have one last one.
Well, I am going to do this one really quick. He sat on the edge of his four-poster. This is Harry. He sat on the edge of his four-poster, thinking hard about everything Aragog had said. The creature that was lurking somewhere in the castle, he thought, sounded a lot like a monster Voldemort. Even other monsters didn't want to name it. I just love that part because it kind of just like, oh yeah, like it kind of just adds to this mystery where like they have no idea what this creature could be, but like no one can tell them because no one even wants to say it. So like, again, we said this a little bit earlier, but this is kind of like one of those little foreshadowing parts where it's just like, this thing is so dangerous that other people don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, and it's like, you can't even tell me the name, please. That would help
it's just
out
like
so much.
literally any facts, nothing. You can't even tell me what color it is, but nothing. They don't want to talk about it at all.
I'll show a picture and you shake
but,
your
like, they
head
don't
yes
even
or
have a
no.
picture. They don't want to. Yeah.
Then my last favorite one was, we already said it, but kill them, clicked Aragog fretfully. I was sleeping.
Yeah. Such a vibe.
So that's all my favorite lines. Did you have any more?
Nope.
Fantastic.
I mean, I could keep going on about Ron, but
we probably will.
Next chapter.
Moving on to our Transfiguration section. So these are changes that the movies made from the books. As always, it's usually giant omissions, things not included. But just to name a few things, one is like this whole day in between Hagrid's hut and like Harry and Ron like seeing Hagrid get arrested and Dumbledore taken away. You know, they have like a whole day of classes in the book. And then that night they go out. In the movie, once Hagrid gets arrested, they walk out and they're like, all right, I guess we go right now. So it's straight to the forest.
It's like Hagrid, he like turns to Ron at that part and he's just like, let's do it tonight. But I think that it's even like longer than that too. I think that it's like a couple weeks after.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Because like they just, I mean, they're still going to school. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
But eventually, but in the movies, it's immediately. Another thing is that famous movie line, you know, where Ron says, follow the spiders. Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies.
Butterflies.
That's not in the
I know.
book. It's a movieism.
I know, but it's so good.
It's
That's
a
such a
great
good line.
movieism. And like a little added tidbit, this would be a golden snitch thing, but since it's just a movie thing, I'll say it here. Have you ever played Hogwarts Legacy?
Oh, yeah.
In the Hogwarts Legacy video game, there is like an ode to the butterfly line, where if you go to the Forbidden Forest, you can see like if you follow not spiders, there will be like swarms of butterflies, and if you follow them, they move along and they usually lead you to some treasure. And that's an ode to Rupert Grint's line in the movie. So that's cool.
I do love that part.
Another change is that in the book, the spiders pick them up, yoink them all off the ground and carry them to the hollow. In the movie, they just make it to the hollow themselves. Like they're not picked up.
They kind of just
walk
find
there.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're here. Also, in the book, we see the Fort Anglia once before they get to Aragog's hollow. However, in the movie, we don't see it, but it is in a deleted scene. So in like a deleted scene, they do come across it, but it's not in the original cut or the final cut.
I think there's also a deleted scene of Ernie apologizing to Harry as well.
I haven't seen that one.
But it's just like, it's like so quick where like they're in herbology and it's kind of just like, there it is. And then it's gone. And I get why they deleted it, but I wish they did it.
I wish there was like places you could watch like extended
just
versions, and like get all of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, another one is, I wrote this line, Ron's line of like, if Hagrid ever gets out of Azkaban, I'll kill him. Yeah, that's not in the book. I think he says something different, like
what does he say?
I'll never forgive Hagrid. We're lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
And then my final transfiguration of the chapter, there's no mention of Mossag. All right, they don't talk about. They don't mention wife at all. Oh wait, one more transfiguration. I just remembered this actually is that like Harry has this revelation about like the girl being in the bathroom. Like he has that after they see Hermione's paper.
Right.
Not in the bedroom or in their common room, not common room, dorm room. But anyway, that's all we got for transfigurations. Now moving on to our golden snitch section. So these are little behind the scenes things, little tids and bits, lore grabs you might not have known about. The first one, as I was reading along, I caught mention of something known as and I hope I say this right, the Abyssinian shrivel fig. Abyssinian shrivel fig. So the shrivel fig was a magical plant, the best specimens of which were found in Abyssinia, which is in Ethiopia, apparently. So the flowers of the shrivel fig grew inside the fruit, both of which were purple in color. It was a deciduous plant, so I don't know what that means. Oh, it says right here, meaning that its leaves start to shed in autumn, and the plant is leafless during the winter. However, due to its aggressive roots, the plant can still survive even in snowy conditions. The leaves have medicinal properties, and when the fruit was skinned, which was actually the plant's flower and contained blossoms inside, it produced a purple liquid with potion-making properties. The shrinking solution, the elixir to introduce euphoria, and the thunder brew, which were 3 potions shrivel figs were used in, and the ingredients could be purchased at the apothecary in Diagon Alley for 3 galleons. Despite their healing properties, shrivel figs could not reverse the effects of curses, though. Oh. So yeah, that's all we got on the shrivel fig, but another one is Lumos. So like I said, this is the first mention of Lumos in the books. I mean, I'm sure it was used, but the word Lumos is not used until this point. And so it's actually a cool thing if you have I have an Android, so I can't do this, but if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, if you say like Siri, Lumos, the light on your phone turns on. And if you say
you can do it with Google too.
You can? Well, yeah. I'll have to do that.
If you have like a Google Assistant, you can do that.
I think my Google Assistant's turned off right now, but the wand lighting charm, also known as Lumos, illuminated the tip of the caster's wand, allowing the caster to see in the dark. The counter charm for the spell was Nox, which was used to extinguish the light from the caster's wand. The charm could be used to reveal magically hidden things. So I thought this was interesting right here. A little bit of history about it. Despite its apparent simplicity, the Lumos charm was not invented until the 18th century. It was first used publicly by its inventor, Lavina Monk Stanley, in the Ministry of Magic in 1772, to the astonishment of her colleagues, to help her look for a fallen quill in a dusty corner. So basically, she just came up with this spell and was like, she never like told people about it. She was like, where did my quill go? Lumos. And she's like looking around and everybody's like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
However, Garvin Lugner claimed to have been the one who invented the spell while he was developing his instant darkness powder. It later transpired that Lugner had been lying about the invention of the charm and that his powder did not do too much more than slightly dim the lights. So there you go. That's a little bit about Lumos for you. And then, okay, I have two more. The first one was acromantulas. So the word acromantula is not stated here, but that's what Aragog is, a big old spooter boy. So an acromantula was a giant magical species of spider native to the rainforest of Southeast Asia, particularly Borneo. I don't know where that is, where it inhabited dense jungles. Acromantulas were believed to be wizard-bred species designed to guard dwellings or treasure hoards, and were first created before the ban of experimental breeding in 1965. These giant spiders had a taste for human flesh and were first spotted in 1794, despite their danger to wizard kind. There existed at least one group dedicated to protecting the species, the Société de Protection des Acromantulas, based in the Place Cachet in Paris. I hope I said all those words right. I don't know.
Maybe we'll see it in at Epic Universe.
I know. That's what I was thinking about. Have you been there, by the way?
I did. I just went. It was amazing.
I hate you.
It was so cool.
I'm so jealous. Oh my
That's
goodness.
fine.
That's sick. I love that. But yeah, so that's just a little thing about them. I did see, like, when I saw that like there was a group dedicated to protecting them. I'm not even going to try to say the name of it again. I like clicked on it. It said that it was a society that advocated for the protection of acromantulas. They performed investigations into illegal acromantula trade and supplied ethically sourced acromantula venom for use in potions only. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. So I was like, and in the 1920s, Professor Tatien Tarantule was president. So yeah, I hope that's in Epic Universe. That'd be a cool call out. I don't know where all that is from, but pretty cool. Anyway, the last one I had. Do you have any siblings? Any of them brothers?
No brothers.
No brothers. Do you have like any gross guy friends? Like just.
I don't know if I have gross guy friends, but I do have guys.
This is gonna sound. I only ask because I have a really weird golden snitch. It's not Harry Potter related, and I'm so sorry. This is so gross. But the word trundling was used in this chapter.
No, okay. And
this is a Barry golden snitch. This has nothing to do with Harry Potter. In my family, my dad started this tradition known as trundling. And every year at Christmas time, my older brother, my dad, and our boy pug, we had two pug dogs, boy and a girl. They were married, and we took our pug with us, and we would all go pick out a Christmas tree together. And we called this process trundling. Now, trundling was not complete until we would go to like a Christmas tree farm, and we'd pick out the perfect tree. And once we picked it out, we christened it by all peeing on it. Every single one of us, even the pug dog, peed on the tree.
Oh my God.
And we took it home with us.
And then you brought it inside?
Brought it inside.
What is wrong with you guys?
Listen, I'm so sorry, listeners. I apologize. It's a sacred and noble tradition. You know what? I'm not sorry.
I'm not coming to your house for Christmas. I'm not coming anywhere near that tree.
Well, now we have a fake tree,
Okay, well,
Jeez.
Don't do anything to that poor tree. You're going to get electrocuted.
It's much easier to clean. So anyway, that's all the golden snitches I have. And with that,
that's so funny.
That's it for chapter 15. And so moving on to chapter 16, the Chamber of Secrets. So Ron's like, the heck, bro, we could have asked Myrtle this whole time. And my thoughts were like, why didn't Myrtle say anything to them? Like, he's going, we could have asked her, but literally like the reason she died and the instances surrounding it, like they're all happening again. And she's just like, this seems familiar. I'll keep it to myself.
She's just such a moody teenager that like, she's just like, no one cares about me, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not surprised at all that Myrtle was like, she wasn't like forthcoming with information because she was so emo about it. And
That's
like,
fair.
she was just like, no one cares about me. I get that.
Anyway, moving past the trauma, they find out they will still have.
We don't have enough time.
They find out they will still have exams that year, and no one is happy about that. There's this funny Neville moment where he accidentally drops his wand and it like destroys one of the legs on his desk, and McGonagall just
probably
casually
makes the loudest noise. Yeah.
I like how she like doesn't say she's probably so used to it she just waves the chair leg back into existence.
She's like, you guys are so dramatic. Like, yes, we're at school. You have tests that you have to do.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we do. This is what we do. Later in the Great Hall, McGonagall stands up and is like, I got some great news, y'all. And everybody, without even hearing it, they start cheering. And they keep coming up with things of what it could be.
My favorite is the wood one.
Yes,
where he's
I
just like,
underlined
Quidditch
that
is
too.
back. And she's like, can you not for 2 seconds?
If people are saying like actual things like Dumbledore's returning, you've caught the air. And then Wood, Quidditch.
Yeah. And she's like, no, that's not what it is. But okay.
She tells them that the petrification potion will be ready. Wood goes, aw. And everyone will be all good the next day. Ron's like, hey, guess we don't need to go talk to Myrtle now. Hermione can just tell us who the culprit was and we all good.
Because he knows it already. She knows exactly what's happening. But we just can't talk to her.
There's this funny line, though, where he's like, maybe we shouldn't wake Hermione up, though, until after exams.
Yeah,
like, it might be kinder.
Because she's going to have a full-on conniption when she realizes she wakes up and tomorrow's the exams. She's not going to be well.
So Ginny comes up to them and wants to tell them a little secret, but she's interrupted by Percy. And I hate this moment because
I love this part. I like that we both just did that.
Well, it's interesting, but I hate Percy's wording where he's just like, it's such a douchebag way of saying, "Hey, can you get out of that seat?" This is just such
an older brother kind of thing. It's just like, you're done, right? Can you get up because I have to sit here?
Yeah, he says, "Where's the line?" Because it ticked me off. He said, if you finished eating, I'll take that seat, Jenny. I'm starving. And it's like,
I just came off patrol duty.
I'm sure there's tons of seats. Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of seats in there. What are you talking about?
We're in the Great Hall. You want to sit right here?
I just want to sit next to Harry. He's the boy who lived. He's so popular.
I do love this part, though, because, again, it shows Harry's kind of emotional intelligence here, where he's looking at Ginny and how she physically is, where Ginny didn't say anything but glanced down the Gryffindor table with a scared look on her face that reminded Harry of someone, but he didn't know who. And within this, 30 seconds of time, Harry realizes that Ginny looks like Dobby before he, reveals forbidden information. And, I just really like that part, just because, growing up, Harry had no love in his family. He was kind of just shunted to the side. No one really cared about him, etc., etc. But Harry still grew up with so much empathy in his heart for other people that he can just catch this little thing of this girl that he just met at the beginning of the year, and he's just like, something's wrong with her. She's about to tell us something that she doesn't want to. And
Ron says, bro, she was about to tell us a secret. And Percy about spits his drink out and says, don't worry about that. She has a super dumb secret. She saw me doing something and you wouldn't even want to hear it. It's so dumb. She also promised not to tell anybody, so that she'd be breaking her promise, but it's dumb, so don't even worry about it.
And I do love the little brother part where he's just like, what were you doing?
Dude, okay, so spoiler, that's in my favorite lines, but in the audiobook version, the way Jim Dale says that line is so funny.
Good. What
were you doing, Percy? I love that.
And you can just see that he's kind of like this, and just squinting his eyes a little bit, what were you doing? Because nothing, absolutely nothing.
So later, they're leaving Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and Lockhart is like, all in a tizzy. You know, he had to stay up all night long. Hair's not looking good. He tells everybody that it's doo-doo, that he has to like stay up and do this stuff. The security measures are stupid. Harry and Ron are like, you know what, Professor? You're right. You should just let
You're
us
so right.
like leave us children to fend for ourselves. And Lockhart's like, you know what? I will. So off he
See,
goes.
here's another part of Ron's like quick on the uptake thing, because at first he's like, what the hell are you talking about? He's not right. And then he's just like, oh, we're doing a thing. And instantly plays into
we're doing a bit.
Thing. And they didn't we didn't even have any, like, nothing. No,
they could do a podcast
conversations,
together.
No looks. Yeah, exactly.
They pick up on each other's
auras.
bits.
Yeah, exactly.
So Harry and Ron wait for the class, to move on, and they try to sneak off to Myrtle's bathroom, but they are caught by McGoogles, who's like, not so fast, boys. Where do you think you're going? And Harry, quick with it Potter,
again
says, we're going to go see Hermione. And McGonagall has this really like tender moment. I love like these little ones from, we saw one earlier in another chapter where she does something similar, like when she's when she first tells them that Hermione got, but
she's so sad.
But in this one, again, she's just like, it says she looks like she might be choking back a tear or something. And
it says, Harry, amazed, saw a tear glistening in her beady eye.
Oh.
And I think that because they only see her as this very strict teacher, like their head of house, like that sort of thing, it's kind of just like, oh, she actually has emotions? That's wild.
Yeah, it's the difference between her and Snape. You know, she's not hard for no reason. You know, it's because she knows what kids need, or at least how to be a good teacher. But she has that soft underside too. So off they trot. They're like, I think it's funny how they think, well, I guess we have to go see Hermione now, because they were going to go to the bathroom.
That wasn't our plan, but okay.
Yeah. So Pomfrey isn't one for this silliness, was my note, because
she's
apparently,
just like, okay.
Because they're like, she says that like there's no point, literally no point in talking to a petrified person. And I was like, Pomfrey would be like the absolute worst person to like tell like emotional stuff to, or like I picture somebody at a graveyard talking to the tombstone, their dead relative, and she's like, they can't hear you. It's like,
right?
Pomfrey,
it's like, we don't need to be here for this. We can be at home for this.
Like, never take Pomfrey to church. She'd be like, who are you talking to? Harry notices something in Hermione's hand, though. And at this point, it's clear that the teachers really didn't do much investigating.
They kind of just put him down, and they were like, I got to go back.
I won't even search the body.
Figure it out.
All good.
Yeah.
And so Harry has a tough time getting the paper out of Hermione's hand, because it says he spends a few minutes trying to like pull out the paper that's tight in her fist. And it made me think
super tight too.
Yeah, it made me think of like when I go to a movie theater and I'm trying to open up my little snack bag
without making a lot of noise,
or like dig through to get my candy, and I don't want to crinkle it up too much during a serious part. I used to do this thing in college when I would like, I could bring snacks into class, and there were some classes that like teachers didn't care if you ate. And I remember I would have Doritos, and like if I would try to chew whenever the teacher was talking, because I thought everybody could hear the chewing, so I'd like have it in my mouth.
Because it's so loud in your ears. Yeah,
waiting for the teacher to talk. And
you're just like sucking on a chip instead of like eating it.
So anyway, what's in her hand? It's a piece of paper about a monster called a basilisk. Harry says, look, Ron, it's a page filled with information that Barry will tell the listeners about in the Golden Snitch section. And so, to say a little something now, though, we learn that Slytherin's monster is probably a basilisk and is able to kill with one look. And the Spooters hate it. And I thought that was bad wording, because the snake doesn't kill you with its look. You got to look at it. So it's almost like your look kills. You know what I'm saying?
It's just like, it can be looking at you, but unless you look directly at it into its eyeballs, then you're fine.
It's over there like, he's going to look at me any second now. Any second now. And Ron's like, so why didn't people die? And Harry's like, because it's a children's book, Ron. I mean, no one actually looked at it directly. And I do think all this little stuff is really clever. All these little loopholes, like you mentioned, like just clever ways of pointing out, that person, it never actually did make eye contact. This is like the worst monster ever. It can't even kill because it keeps messing up because, it's the water or his reflection in the water or through the camera or through Nearly Headless Nick. And then the mirror.
In the mirror, yeah. It's crazy.
Ron says, how has the snake gotten around? And they see that Hermione has answered that too. The pipes has been written on the paper. So he's been crawling around the pipe system in the walls. Personally, I hear people complain that that's this is such a silly explanation, but I like it based on what I know of this world, because people are like, those pipes, how can it fit through those pipes? And I'm like, guys, they have tents that get bigger on the inside. I'm sure that this magical snake and this magical castle can travel through these pipes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally a magic school. What do you mean? They have no map because the castle changes so much.
Yeah, this is wonderful because it's with 90% of plot holes in Harry Potter, I can just go, magic, boys.
Magic.
That's what this is.
It's magic.
They also deduced that the chamber is probably in the bathroom too. And they get excited about that and think that they should tell the teachers. So they go to the staff room, but before they can say anything, there's an announcement for all the students to head to their dorms immediately. Yay, class is canceled. But not yay, because
that's what I would have been like.
Yeah, but not yay, because as we come to find out from the teachers, it's because a student has been taken to the chamber. The boys sneak into the wardrobe right next to them, or in the teacher's room.
In the staff room, yeah.
Yeah. And Snape says, how can we be sure? And McGonagall says the attacker left a note. And Snape's like, where? And they go, under the first note on the wall. And Snape's like, dang, we really should have had somebody right there. We also learn that the monster has gotten Ginny. Lockhart walks in, says, sup, y'all? Sorry, I was snoozing. And Snape is like, just the man.
I love this part.
I love it too.
You can just tell that all of the teachers collectively just hate this dude. They know that he's a fraud. They know he's kind of the worst person on earth. And I just love that they all kind of team up together and they're just like, oh, good, your moment's finally here.
Yeah,
and then they all just keep.
Yeah.
You were talking to me yesterday about how great this would be if you could do it, and how only if I had been there, then I would have known the exact counterspell to do it.
McGonagall was like, Gilderoy, you said you've been wanting free reign. Well, you know what? I'll make sure the hallways are clear tonight, and it's all yours. Go get them. Go get them.
Yeah, I certainly remember you saying you were sorry you hadn't had a crack at the monster before Hagrid was arrested, Snape says. And I just think it's so funny. And Professor Snout was like, weren't you just saying last night you've known all along where the Chamber of Secrets is? And now he's kind of getting backed up with his little claims. And they're like, good, perfect. Get out of here. You got this, right? And then when he leaves, they're just like, okay, good. Now he's out of our hair. Let's actually figure out what we should do.
I do think that the narrator does Lockhart real dirty here. Because he says
crazy.
He didn't look remotely handsome anymore. His lip was trembling. And in the absence of his usually toothy grin, he looked weak-chinned and feeble. I was weak-chinned? Not weak-chinned. Daggone.
So rude.
But accurate.
Accurate.
I meant to ask you. Okay, this will be fun. I usually ask all my female guests. Movie Gilderoy Lockhart. Was he attractive?
No, he's not doing it for me. No. If it was Henry Cavill, yeah, obviously. He can write whatever books he wants.
Oh, I have this theory.
Henry Cavill can play anybody.
So I like those memes that are for the new people are saying in the Aegon Conquest series, let's have Henry Cavill play every character. I thought because all the casting stuff is coming out about the new TV show, and for many reasons, some of them pretty dumb reasons, but they're some people get upset about casting, some people love it. For the character of Snape, they casted Papa Asiju, and some people get upset about that. But and one person said he's hot. Why would Lily choose James over this guy? This guy's hot. Yeah. And I was like, guys, I have the solution. Henry Cavill is James Potter.
Oh my God, perfect. I know. But he's just too old now. He's like in the books, he's supposed to be 21 years old. So, unfortunately for us,
could you picture in Snape's memories a bunch of teenagers and then Henry Cavill sitting there, just James?
No, I could not. I'd be like, no wonder. What do you mean?
It'd be
No
so
wonder
funny.
Snape hates him so much.
They're all wearing like loose robes, and Henry Cavill just has like
He's
a
just
very
like-
tight polo on. Like, what's up, y'all?
Just like with his bulging muscles, it's just like, yeah, she did pick correctly. That's for sure.
Geez, all
I
that's got me
didn't-
worked up. I don't even know where we are right
Yeah.
now.
I am excited to see who they cast as Lockhart, and I do hope that he's undeniably handsome, because it would just give the more feeling of, oh, it doesn't matter what he says because he's got a face card that I don't care what comes out of his mouth. It's like, oh, whatever. Like, he just said that, you know, he's going to conquer the world. Sure, I love it. Whatever. Like,
Hey.
Henry could do anything and I would love him.
I'm trying to think of like Lockhart casting now. It could be like, the only names coming to mind are like the names people cast for everything. Like, who's the guy from Dune?
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy
No,
Chalamet is Lockhart. I don't
you
know.
know, I think that he would do better as like Sirius Black's brother at some point.
Yeah.
But like, he's just a little too edgy to be like this golden boy. You know, I kind of think of Peeta Mellark's character from Hunger Games. But he's also a little bit too old. Maybe not like the true handsome, like, I need like a Baywatch dude that's just like
Dwayne The Rock
like-
Johnson as Gilderoy Lockhart.
No, but just like someone
Zac
with
Efron.
a face. I mean, he could.
He could
if he
so
dyed
be
his hair
Gilderoy.
blonde.
He could so
He
be
could.
Gilderoy because he can pull off that like douchey, smarmy kind of look.
Yes,
And he's
and just
beautiful. So
he does have a good face card.
anyway, back to Harry Potter.
Yes.
So they where am I a minute? So Gilderoy,
So he
Weak, Finn,
leaves
and
the
Cheevel.
room.
He leaves. Teachers talk crap about him.
And now
I love that.
Professor McGonagall is like, yeah, okay, so now he's gone. Now we can actually figure out what the real plan is.
Mhm.
And I love that the next line is, this is probably the worst day of
Yeah.
Harry's entire life. And I put, so far.
See, it's funny that you went that way because, like, when I write notes for this, I often think like, I need to write down a joke, write down something funny. But it felt wrong at this point because I was like,
No,
it's such
so
a sad
far.
moment. And then you were like, silly boy. You don't even
you
know
silly
how awful
guy,
things
you
are
don't
gonna get
even
for
know.
you.
This is fine.
Yeah.
But
Ooh,
I
I did
do
write
like
down.
that-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I said I write that Ron makes a good observation. So, like, he says that Ginny had to have known something because she's a pureblood. There's no reason that the monster would have gone, that like the heir of Slytherin would have gone after her, other than it wasn't a dumb secret about Percy. She actually knew something. So I thought that was a good catch. Yeah, I hate this line where like he does ask Harry if he thinks Ginny could still be alive, and Harry like can't even bring himself to answer because he's like, there's no freaking way. So they're in Gryffindor Tower and they don't want to sit there though. So they're like, let's go to Lockhart's office and tell him what we know. Everybody in Gryffindor Tower is like, you know what? I feel bad for Ron. Let him go. Crap of all craps though, when they get to Lockhart's office, he's all packed up and getting ready to leave. They're like, bro, what about all that stuff you did in your books? And Cory, we find out, twist of the century that nobody saw coming, that Lockhart is actually a no good, dirty, rotten, credit stealing, memory messer up and doo-doo head.
Yeah. But I also think that this part is really, really interesting though, because while Lockhart on the outside is trying to be like this very like handsome, knows everything, like very like, oh, I knew that already, like sort of thing. This particular part, this paragraph shows actually how smart and manipulative Lockhart is, because like he's tricked everybody in the world basically about he did all of these things. Everybody thinks that he wrote these books, and like he literally has manipulated an entire people to convince them that he did all of these things in his book, and he kind of like shows his hand a little bit to Harry and Ron at this point, because at the end, he's already thinking ahead. Like, he's going to tell his entire story because he never gets to tell this story. He's bragging at this point to Harry and Ron about how great he is at magic and how good he's been doing and how he's manipulated people into doing this because he's so much more handsome and pretty than these people that actually did the work. So he's bragging to them, knowing at the end he's going to do exactly the same thing to them that he's done to
that
everybody
take.
else.
Because in my head, I thought, like, why is he even telling them this if he's going to, like, erase their memories? And then I made a little joke note.
Because he wants to brag.
Yeah, I made a little joke note of saying, like, I guess he just needs to get it off his chest. Like, he feels guilty and needs to tell somebody.
I don't think he feels guilty at all.
Yeah, your impression is much better.
He wants to brag.
Yeah, your take is much more in line.
He does not humble brag. He does not. He's just like, everybody that I've obliviated, I've told them the same exact story and how smart I am and how good I am at this. And like he even says, like, if there's one thing I pride myself on, it's memory charms. And this person in particular, Gilderoy Lockhart, is extremely prideful altogether. So like, it's just such a good, well-written paragraph because like he is bragging so hard because he knows this secret isn't going to get out because he's about to do something to them too. Like these poor 12-year-old boys, but he has not come across somebody like Harry and Ron yet. So
no, ma'am. I like this part. He basically says like other people did that stuff, but they weren't hot. So nobody would have cared. And that's a sad commentary on our society of like, they weren't hot. So nobody would have cared.
But like the thing is that Gilderoy must have been watching the news and like these very small, extremely small news outlets in these little baby villages and went to these villages, found the person that did it, convinced them to talk to him about the entire thing, every detail.
It was hard work slogging through all that. Is what he says.
And then obliviates them and then convinces everybody else that he's the one that did it. So like, did he obliviate everybody or is he just such a good storyteller that like, it doesn't matter because the villages are so small?
Yeah. It makes me think like a little bit of Horace Slughorn to him of like, he knows who the really good wizards are. And he's like keeping track, keeping tabs on them. And he's
going to find them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, he finds them before like it gets to really big news outlets.
Yeah.
And
or
stuff.
like, I picture like there's some video games where I think of the Witcher video game. There's a message board of missions you can go on, and like somebody comes up, I'll take like you as Geralt. You're like, I'll take that mission, and Geralt sees like, this person took this one. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. And I think that's a great analogy because I love The Witcher 3. I was just playing it yesterday. I have a tattoo on my hand.
Okay.
For it. It's like one of my absolute favorite video games. I've probably played it like 5 times, and I just played a brand new quest yesterday that I had never played in all of my playthroughs. Such a good game. But anyway.
But back to Harry Potter.
Okay, so he's bragging to him and
tells them all their stuff.
He's like, sorry, now it's your turn.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to give them a little memory charm.
But Harry's fast.
Harry's too quick he's a little quick boy, and he does Expelliarmus.
Well, this is what does she say in the last book? She says, with the skill and speed of a seeker.
Yeah.
This is like the very end of Deathly Hallows. No spoiler, but like with the skill and speed of a seeker. And like, again, this just plays to Harry's character is that he's thinking ahead already. He's faster than this full-grown, like, adult magic user, basically.
Yeah.
Like, this is why Harry's such a good character, because he's already thinking ahead, and he's just like, I'm going to get him before he gets me. So he's like really quick on the uptake.
Harry has like some of the best battle experience or battle instincts of any character in the series, even as a 12-year-old, you know?
And I also think that Ron plays really well. Like, this is why they're such a good duo, because
I'm his second.
Exactly. But like Harry's quick on the uptake, but then Ron can watch and also takes from that. So like, yes, while Harry did it in the first second, Ron is ready in the second. He just needed that 1 second to follow Harry's lead, and like in the next part, he's just like, he takes his wand and throws it out the window.
I love that. So he hits him with Expelliarmus. Ron catches the wand, yeets it out the window.
Immediately.
narrator
and
calls
there's no
him-
conversation.
Yeah.
I just love that part.
The narrator calls Gilderoy feeble again. And I was like, daggum. So anyway, off they go to Myrtle's bathroom, and Harry asks her how she died. And little old Myrtle,
And she's so excited.
she's just tickled pink
She's
to
like, no
tell
one
them
ever
her
asked
story.
me about myself.
Ooh. And she says she was just in the bathroom hiding from her bully, and she looked up and saw a great big pair of yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes. Right
then,
over there.
Right, oh, I love that. And then, and I love this, like she swells up all important. I died.
And then I died.
But she says to them, you best believe that when I died, though, I came back to bully my bully, which, you know, all right. Harry asks her where she saw the eyes, and she's like, over there at that sink. And
that sink never worked.
Yeah, she's so happy to say that. She's like, listen to my information.
She's like, please talk to me.
So to make a long story short, they find out that there's a tap with a snake on it, and that's the entrance to the chamber. Harry speaks some parcel tongue, and it opens up. I like that they shove Lockhart down first, but again,
hilarious.
Slight difference between the movie. Like in the movie, they wait for him to hit the bottom. In this one, they're like, you first, and they just go right after.
And then they go right after, yeah.
So down in the chamber, they see a giant snake skin, and that's pretty cool. Lockhart at one point, like, he falls over pretending to faint, but then he jumps and he takes Ron's wand away from him, and he's like, sorry, boys, it's time for you guys to forget everything. You know, I'm just gonna lie, to bring a bit of this snake skin up there, tell people I was too late to save her. You guys went crazy,
and you
seeing her body.
tragically lost your minds.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, this part is so funny because, like, if Lockhart had been paying attention at any point throughout the year, he would have known that Ron's wand is broken.
He was just paying attention to himself the whole time.
He does not give a single. He does not care at all.
Doesn't care about any of the students.
He didn't even look at it. And I also think that in wand lore, that again, the wand chooses the wizard, and as Ron's wand. No, this is Charlie's wand, isn't it? This is Charlie's wand. So maybe that's why it doesn't work as well for Ron. But again, this wand has more allegiance to Ron than it does for Lockhart. So again, this could have been just kind of like, not only is it broken, but this could have been like a wand kind of lore thing where it's just like, you are not my owner kind of thing, and it's just like, how dare you try to do this? You're not my dad. But like and it explodes. Like,
yeah. So I wrote down, it wasn't any wand he stole. It was Chekhov's messed up wand, and it backfires on him, and a small explosion takes place. I love this. Harry says he just throws his hands over his head and runs for it. He's like, sorry, Ron. He just books
But like, he's trying to just save himself. So, I mean.
So he's like, I'm out, and there's a cave in, and now he's separated from Ron and Lockhart. But he does check on his bro. He calls back to Ron, and Ron says he's good, but that Lockhart is messed up.
Git's not, though.
And
I like that I like that it says it sounded as though Ron had just kicked Lockhart in the shins.
Yeah,
hilarious.
I wrote down, as Harry tries to think over what to do, Ron is just over there kicking Lockhart's shins just for fun.
He's just beating him up.
Yeah, why not? Harry says, all right, new plan. I'm going to main character this and go on alone. And Ron says, that's great writing. Okay. Love that. But it is like an emotional moment where he's like, gets a little choked up, and he's like, you know what? I'll move some stones aside so that you have a way to get back whenever you return.
Yeah. And I love this. Like, there was a very pregnant pause, and then I'll try to shift some of this rock so you can get back through. And Harry, and kind of like a pause, and Harry doesn't want to hear this part because it gives like a finality to what could possibly be happening. Like, I know that Ron was probably trying to be like, be safe, make sure you find her, I hope she's not dead, like some of like whatever this sentence could have been. Harry didn't want to hear it because he was kind of just like, no bad vibes, I'm gonna do this, don't make me think about anything other than getting into this place and doing what I have to do.
Well, it's such a reflection of what happens right before the climax in the first book. You know, Ron's knocked out, and Hermione says to Harry before he goes on alone, oh, and Harry, do be careful. And so it's
Yeah. It's almost
Harry's like, I don't
exactly
want to
the
hear it from
same.
you. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't want this. I don't need you to tell me to be lucky, to be
I
safe,
almost cried
to do
last
anything.
time. I can't handle if you do it, Ron. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Harry walks along. He finds another cool snaky entrance, says some parcel tongue, and then he walks into the chamber. Dun, dun, dun. And that's the end of the chapter. Yay! We made it. All right.
We made it.
What are some of your? I only have two. I think I only have two favorite lines from this chapter. But do you have any favorite lines?
Let's see. So I'm gonna go back to where we just kind of were. It's when Ron is kind of just like, and Harry, and he says, "See you in a bit," said Harry, trying to inject some confidence into his shaking voice.
Yeah.
So he's really trying to play up the fact that, like, Harry is terrified at this point. He has to go in alone, but he's trying to make sure that Ron is kind of just like, don't worry about it, I got it. Like, trying to make sure Ron feels better about this situation, because, you know, I just think this is a really great part to kind of just be like, don't worry, I got this.
So I already mentioned it, but my first favorite line was Wood, whenever he says, Quidditch matches are back on, roared Wood excitedly.
Yay! Yeah.
And then what's another one you got?
I just really like the confrontation between all of the teachers and Lockhart, but my favorite one is definitely McGonagall, when she's like, tonight will be an excellent time for you to do it. We'll make sure everyone's out of your way. You'll be able to tackle the monster all by yourself. Free reign at last. And like, I can just feel like the sarcasm, but I know that Lockhart isn't, because he's kind of just panicking. He's like, I actually
he's doing his
can't do
best.
this.
He's doing his Quirrell impression. He's just stuttering over there.
I just love that part, because like, it just like shows how connected the teachers are also, because they're all like, in my brain, I think that all of the teachers at Hogwarts are at least friendly with each other, if not friends. So like, they're all in cahoots together, knowing that this dude's a fraud, and I just love that they all kind of just like annihilate him in the staff room.
Just of one mind in that moment, like, screw this guy. Real quick, something to make us feel slightly better. Let's bully someone. All right.
And then we'll go back to our real work.
Nothing bonds friends like trash talking somebody else. But anyway, one of my other favorite line was, and we said the first half of it, but what were you doing, Percy? Said Ron, grinning. Go on, tell us. We won't laugh.
I know. That's just like such a little brother thing too. It's just like, oh, what were you doing? And Jim Dale is such an angel on that.
Yes, I love Jim Dale.
Jim Dale. I kind of want to get a JD and a heart on my Harry Potter sleeve, just as a little thing for him, because like, when I don't have a book, if I'm feeling stressed, if I'm feeling anxious or something, I just listen to these books pretty consistently throughout the year. Like, basically, it's always on my rotation. If you're in my car, you're probably hearing it. But it's just like, he's just so good.
It's like, I've heard more of Jim Dale's voice than like
anybody else's.
Like my pastor's voice. You know, I'm like, did you have any of the favorite lines?
I mean, I think that I've already said a lot of them.
Yeah, we talk about it. Like,
yeah, like right when we were doing it, but like her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever was, as a child, so scary. Like, what do you mean? Like, this poor girl was just in the common room, and like, now her skeleton is going to be there. What do you mean? What's going to happen? And like me just like listening to it, and then also remembering the movie, like that part in the movie is really well done, because like the music is really good with that, and like the zoom in on Ron's face kind of thing, and it does kind of like heighten your anxiety. It's just like, oh my god, like now we have somebody that we know that's down there, and this is like an unknown kind of territory, and we're supposed to be more and more scared leading up to this. So I think that's a really great kind of like scary horror line that she kind of puts in there, because like she didn't have to do that.
No, and this book was good at like ramping up the horror elements in this series, especially more than book one. All right, so now moving on to our Transfiguration section, and again, changes that the movies made from the books. First one I have: the teacher meeting does not take place in the staff room in the movie. In the movie, they meet up in the hallway in front of Moaning Myrtle's bathroom where the note is written on the wall, like what we just talked about. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. And so they're there. Ron and Harry aren't in some wardrobe, but they're just like around the corner.
I think it's much more dramatic that way too, because you get to see it like written in what the movies think that is blood, but like in the books it's paint.
In the books it's paint. Yeah.
But like it's way scarier to see this written as blood in the movies. So I like, again, it kind of like ramps up that like horror anxiety kind of thing. And like Ron's face is just like, you know.
Yeah, I love that like it focuses more on him than Harry in that moment. Also, in the movie, when Harry and Ron like point their wands at Lockhart and tell him to like that he's coming with them. Yeah, he just drops his wand. They don't shoot his wand out of his hand. He just like, all right,
he's
you
like,
got me.
Yeah. And I wonder if this is kind of like a play on how he was kind of like, well, if they do know, then I want to get the credit for this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wonder if that's kind of like what the movies were trying to portray. It's just like, oh, like, yes, I could potentially take these two 12-year-old kids, not really knowing Harry because he has not paid attention to anything except for himself the entire year. But like, he was kind of just like, oh, well, if they know, then I want credit for this. So I'm going to go and do this.
He's definitely an opportunist. Like we've already learned that. The other one is like when they get to Myrtle's and the chamber opens up, it's the giant pipe, and they like, he's talking and they push him down, but he's in the movie, he's standing and they push him down. And like we said, they wait for him to hit the bottom, and he's like, it's quite disgusting down here. In the book, it says he comes over and he just sits down. And then Ron like kicks him in, but he's like sitting. So he literally like
he's
a
like
slide
sitting at the top of the slide. Yeah, this one it seems like in the movies it kind of seems like he's just free falling, which is kind of wild.
Like into a pit rather than down a slide.
Well, he's alive, so let's go next. And I do love the part that they kind of added in with Myrtle, where she's just like, "And Harry, if you don't survive, you can share my toilet." And he's just like, cool, I don't want to do that. And it's kind of just like even more like, I have to do this because if I turn into a ghost, I have to live with this for the rest of my life. And I will not do that. So
that's funny. That's his real motivation. It's not like, I got to save Jenny or anything. It's like, I can't live with Myrtle forever.
It's just like, no way am I going to do that.
That is a you bend, not a me bend.
Yeah.
Get it? Cover pun.
That's funny.
In the book, the snake skin that they find is described as being 20 feet long, but in the movie, Ron says it's 60 feet long. So
a lot scarier if it's much bigger. So
it could still probably be longer than 20 feet. Might be an older snake skin or something, but just at least that skin itself was longer in the movie. And the entrance to the chamber is different. Not the first one in the bathroom. One. But the second one, there's not like in the book it describes. I like breezed past that part because I was tired of taking notes. But in the book, there's like two snake sentinels with like emerald eyes or whatever, or some stones in their eyes. And it kind of just
like opens up like automatic doors rather than like this kind of the one that's in the movie kind of reminds me of like a bank vault. You know?
Yeah.
So like it kind of
one of the
opens.
movies so sick.
Yeah, it's so sick. I mean, I love that creative direction where it like has the snake going around, and it's much more ominous with these huge clacks, like this huge locks, where instead of like it's just like automatic door that just kind of opens. So I think that they did a good job on that one, trying to make it a little bit like more scary.
Yeah, but as far as transfigurations go, that's about all I got for this chapter. Yeah, so moving on to our golden snitches, our little behind-the-scenes lore, tids and bits. The first one is obviously the basilisk. So the basilisk was a giant serpent, also known as the king of serpents. It was a magical beast that was usually bred by dark wizards. Herpo the Fowl was the first to breed a basilisk. He accomplished this by hatching a chicken egg beneath a toad, which resulted in the creature known as a basilisk. Basilisk breeding was banned in medieval times, a regulation that has not changed. The practice could be hidden from the Department for Regulation of Control of Magical Creatures. And what did it write? They basically just says they did a terrible job of checking up on it. A phenomenally lethal creature, direct eye contact with a basilisk could result in instantaneous death. But as we know, an indirect look would merely render the victim petrified. It was also the mortal enemy of spiders. They refused to speak its name, but they could intuitively sense its presence and would flee whenever they sensed it. The basilisk also has a XXXXX. I think that's 5 X's. Creature classification in like the monster book, in Newt's.
It could be in the Monster Book of Monsters also. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yes, in that book, meaning it was a known wizard killer that couldn't be domesticated due to its intense powers. However, since the basilisk was still a serpent, a Parselmouth might communicate with it and potentially place the creature under their influence. So you can't like domesticate it, but you can give it some orders if you're a Parseltongue.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I think that it's really weird. Well, I mean, Tom Riddle as a person is just a really weird person, but also like I just can't imagine. So obviously, Voldemort is like a terrible person, but as a student, he is extremely smart and like is trying to find every single thing that he can ever find about basically everything. Because like, yes, he is obsessed with the founders, especially Salazar Slytherin. And like, how did he just kind of randomly come across this like Chamber of Secrets thing and then figure it out also? Who is the first person in centuries to ever even, think about this Chamber of Secrets. So he must have just been scouring the Hogwarts library to try to find any inkling of everything about, like, this is very,
he wanted to validate his heritage, really, is what he was doing.
He went so hard into it, too, because he just probably read this very small tidbit about it and then searched the entire magical school that changes consistently and found it and then didn't domesticate this animal but convinced this animal to do his bidding, basically, which is wild to me because, like, as we know, he is an extremely, like, he's very, very good at magic and, like, extremely intelligent, but he just has bad, like, intentions with it. Whereas, like, imagine if Voldemort hadn't grown up how he grew up and like his mom lived or like his dad came to find him or whatever, like he wasn't, made under a love potion kind of thing. But that's another book. But still, like, can you imagine if he had the heart of Harry and how incredible he could have made the wizarding world but instead, because of his childhood and his trauma and stuff like that, he turned bad.
I like I've heard quotes about like, and I forget where I've heard this, but it's like the greater capacity for good you have. Oh, it's from like C.S. Lewis. The greater capacity for good you have, it's also like the greater capacity for evil. It's like the more incredible something is, the more it can do, like in both directions.
Yeah. And I think
as a person,
I think that's a perfect example of Dumbledore in that situation too, because like Dumbledore is inherently trying to be good, but he also has kind of darker tendencies that like people, it's kind of like that hero ideation kind of thing where everybody thinks that Dumbledore is really trying to do his best, trying to be good, but there are kind of things where you're just like, oh, why did you do that? That's kind of weird. But like, I think that the author's writing is just very good at making characters extremely gray because yes, in everybody's eyes, like in the first book where they get the chocolate frog cards and at the end of the book, he's just like, there's a line about Ron where it's just like, he has a huge smile on his face. He just can't believe his hero this, or something about Dumbledore. But like, even as an 11-year-old child, he's just kind of like, he looks up to Dumbledore as this hero of the wizarding world. Whereas like, you kind of get a little bit farther into like the darker parts of the books, like, 6 and 7, where you're kind of just like, actually, Dumbledore kind of like didn't do that great things sometimes. Like, yes, he was kind of going for the greater good, but like he also had like bad tendencies too. But again, like you said, it's kind of like, it's like he did do what he needed to do to get to this part. Like he did as much as he could, but that's another book.
Yeah. And then the other thing I found interesting about the basilisk is that the basilisk is often confused with the cockatrice.
Ooh,
but
from
the
Witcher.
basilisk, but the basilisk is born from a chicken's egg hatched beneath a toad, while the cockatrice is hatched by a chicken's egg incubated by a serpent. The cockatrice is also usually depicted with wings, while the basilisk is not. Due to this, it can be assumed that J.K. Rowling either had the two confused or decided to combine the two. A cockatrice is the product of an egg laid by a male chicken and incubated by a toad or a snake, and can kill by looking at a person, touching them, or even breathing on them, and was slain instantly by a rooster's crow. So there's a little fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one. In Lego Harry Potter, years 1 through 4, the Serpent of Slytherin is incorrectly male because it has a red plume on its head. So the actual one in the movie, it doesn't. It's a Slytherin's monster is a girl snake. So that's funny.
I wonder if that's kind of like, I don't know. That's very interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. The other one I have, the golden snitch, was Olive Hornby. So Olive Hornby was born sometime between 1926 and 1932, around the time Myrtle was born. She also had a brother. When she was 11 years old, she received her letter to go to Hogwarts. She went around the same time as Myrtle. On one such occasion, she cruelly taunted Myrtle about her glasses. We heard about that in this, and eventually led, to Myrtle's murder. After realizing that no one had seen Myrtle for a couple hours, and knowing that Olive Hornby had previously bullied Myrtle, Professor Dippet, then headmaster, requested her to go look for Myrtle. When Olive got to the bathroom, the first thing she saw was Myrtle's dead body lying on the floor. This left Olive in a state of shock and horror, according to Myrtle's ghost, who watched the scene with delight. Freak. And then Moaning Myrtle, as she was now known as a ghost, haunted Olive Hornby for a long period of time, even after she left Hogwarts. And so you said this earlier.
Yeah.
After there was one time she interrupted Olive Hornby's brother's wedding. Olive went to the Ministry of Magic to get rid of the troublesome ghosts, and Myrtle was then sent back to Hogwarts, where she haunted the bathroom in which she died.
I think that it's really interesting that, like, in this instance specifically, like, Myrtle can leave the bathroom. Like, she went to her bully's brother's wedding to taunt her at this wedding. So, like, she can leave Hogwarts. She can go places, and she just chooses to not do that. It's like,
yeah,
I think it's really interesting.
And then two more. The one is the snake faucet that we see in this chapter. That's the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. I don't really have like special information about it, but if you play Hogwarts Legacy and you go to the girls' bathroom, at one of them, you can see, I don't remember which one it is, but there is a girls' bathroom that has a little snake on one of the faucets, which makes sense because, I mean, it's as old as the school itself. So.
There's also a part in Hogwarts Legacy in one of the girls' bathrooms. I think it's this one that you're speaking about, but you can go into one of the stalls and you see the Polyjuice potion being made in there. Yeah, which I think is really cool.
Out. I love all the Easter eggs in that game.
It's so good.
So I did have one more golden snitch. However, I'm going to like tease it a little bit. I did have a whole lot to say about Gilderoy Lockhart because, you know, for the whole book, his secret hadn't been revealed and it's revealed at this point. However, it's a lot. Like, she did write a decently long biography about him. Did. And so I will probably save that for a different episode, but just some fast facts. He was a Ravenclaw. Well, he was born on January 26th, 1964 to a Muggle father and a witch mother. Both of his sisters were squibs. And as the only one of 3 children to exhibit magical ability, Gilderoy became their mother's unashamed favorite, thus inflating his sense of self-importance. He and his mother forgot in their excitement that Hogwarts was a school for all British and Irish wizards, and thus his introduction into the school, along with everyone else in his eyes, was extremely dull. But anyway, again, I have more to say about it. The only other interesting thing I thought was that he was just 4 years younger than James Potter, like that his Hogwarts year in 1975.
Interesting.
But again, I have a lot more stuff to say about him.
I wonder if he knew James and Lily at all. But again, it's just like this pompous attitude of Gilderoy that he wouldn't be like, oh, I knew your parents. Like almost every other person ever does to Harry. Like, I think this is the only like person in the series that doesn't say anything to Harry about his parents. And like there is like a little part where he's just like, I know that you're kind of famous, but I'm more famous than you. Like there is a like one part, I think maybe he's in detention or something like that, when he's just like, yeah, you're kind of famous, but I'm more famous than you kind of vibe. And it's just like, no way that you're
Oh, hey doggy.
I know, my little dog.
Sorry. He's so cute.
But I just think it's really interesting that like he's just so self-centered that he never said anything to Harry about his parents or anything about Harry at all. He's kind of just like, I know some people know your name. And it's just like, okay.
He wouldn't have noticed them.
Yeah.
The only other thing I would say about Lockhart, because again, there is a whole lot of extra stuff written about him.
I bet it's like a full page or two.
But that's all I got for the Golden Snitch section. So before we move on to our restricted section, our chamber of secrets, as it were, full of spoilers and all extra talk, to everybody that doesn't want spoilers and stuff like that, thank you for listening this week. It was awesome getting to talk to y'all, and glad you could hear from Weasey the Red. Weasey, where can they find you on Instagram and all your socials?
It's at Weasey, WEASEY_the_red.
Yay. So if you want to check her out, please do. She's got some awesome content that you guys would, if you listen to this podcast, you would like what she puts up there. So yeah, go and check that out. But anyway, goodbye everybody. We'll see you next week for the final 2 chapters of this book.
Ooh, yeah.
But now we're going to be speaking speaking some parcel tongue, getting into that chamber. We're all now we're in here. All right. So I just have I just wrote down 3 things for my restricted section talk. The first one, as we've alluded to a good bit, you have the Percy subplot still going on in this one about it was, the thing that Jenny caught him doing was making out with
Penelope Clearwater.
And I just think that's so funny.
Another prefect while they were on duty. And I
think of how hypocritical that is, because he's always saying don't do bad stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's why he was just like, Jenny, please don't tell anybody, because Jenny was just like, oh, I got you now, son. And that's the only reason why she was keeping it close to the chest, because she didn't want her brother to get in trouble. But that's why she tells everybody at the end of the school year rather than kind of blabbing it right at the beginning, because what if a teacher found out?
Well, it also fits because in her head, later I'm thinking of in book 6 when Ron catches her making out with Dean Thomas. She's like, bro, it isn't a big deal,
Yeah,
and so she's seen her own sibling making out with somebody. So she's like, not a big deal. Frick you mean? And so she was like, I got you back, Percy. It's a shame that he thought she was going to tell on him, because she's being a bro. She's like, I ain't going to tell on you.
She's like, it's fine.
That. But I'm talking about actual murder here.
Yeah, it's just I have other things to deal with right now besides you making out with your friend. Come on.
My other one is that, so it mentions that Jenny was the one, she's the one being used, and she speaks parcel tongue to get into, Tom Riddle uses her to speak parcel tongue to get into the chamber, which made me think that the critiques, so you're going to like this, the critiques leveled at Ron, in movie 8, I guess, book 7, movie 8, a lot of people say it's dumb that he's opens the Chamber of Secrets and turns to Hermione and is like, Harry talks in his sleep, because he just mimics what Harry says. But I'm like, that's essentially what Jenny does to get into the chamber. Because it does what she's told.
Maybe the Horcrux that's inside the notebook it was possessing her, so it could talk through her to do that. So
yeah, that could have been the case, but it's also still just Jenny repeating it,
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's not a plot hole per se, but I just think that because this is one of the more childish books of this series, they don't really go into the possession kind of trauma that Ginny has. Like, I think it's in book 5.
Book 5, she brings it up to Harry.
She brings it up, and she's just like, yeah, I guess nobody else would know about that except for somebody who's actually been possessed by him.
Such a shame if you had somebody you could talk to about this.
How crazy would it be if you knew somebody like that? And like, again, it's kind of just like Harry being caught up in his own world, but we don't get to see a lot about Ginny's social life, but she becomes extremely popular. She's very well liked. She's really good at Quidditch. Like, she just has all of these really great qualities. And I think that they kind of just skate over the fact that she's so strong-willed that she didn't let this kind of consume her afterwards. Like, maybe...
Yeah, she didn't take any kind of victim mentality approach. Like, and I feel like she would have been justified in doing so in this case, but she was just like, I'll overcome it. I'll be better. You know?
She does such a good job at helping Harry overcome this fear of being possessed by Voldemort extremely quickly, easily. Like, she kind of just is like, do you remember everything that you said, like, you've been doing? Do you remember everything that you've said? Do you have black parts in your brain that, like, you just don't remember where you were? And, like, things like that. And she's like, I don't think you've ever been possessed by him because none of that stuff ever happened to me. And, like...
She's like WebMD.
Literally, she was kind of just like, none of these things are similar to my situation, so I don't think that you were ever actually fully possessed by him. So I think that might be something else. But it makes Harry immediately feel so much better about himself because he's just like, he's worried about the people around him and who he's going to hurt around him because he thinks he's being possessed by her or by him. And Ginny almost instantly kind of like shuts that down and is like, no, that's not real.
If I like make like little shorts from this episode, I'm definitely using all of that because not just because of what you said, but because of your little doggo right there. Just it's so
he's
cute.
Very into Ginny too.
What's his name?
This is Scooter.
Hi, Scooter.
And then Ollie's sleeping over there, but Scooter just wants more attention.
And then my last restricted section thing I have is that Lockhart, though his memory gets messed up here, he does come back. In the books, we see him again in St. Mungo's hospital for magical maladies, illnesses and maladies. And he's like all messed up in the head. I mentioned before that in this book, there's a woman who writes to him, Gladys.
Gladys Gudgeon.
I mispronounced it when I did that episode. I kept saying Gladys for some reason. But anyway, he's like in that book, he goes, Gladys still writes to me. But yeah, so he does come back though. So we see him there. And we also see him at the end of movie 2. There's the only end credit scene in all of Harry Potter is
it's so good.
It's in Diagon Alley. It's Lockhart on a book, and it's, instead of like magical me, it says like something like "Who am I?" ? Or something like that.
Yeah, and he's in like a straitjacket.
That's really funny. I
thought it was so funny. I remember. I don't think I stayed at the movies for it because I was. How old was I? I was 12, so my parents were like, "Let's leave." But I remember watching it being older, and I was just like, "What the heck is that?" I've never seen that part before. But I thought it was so funny. He did such a good job at still trying to do that smile thing at the end, and also just being like, why am I doing this? So I just think it's really funny.
Oh, I have this twitch. What is it for?
Yeah, and it's just like, why do I keep doing this? It's so weird.
Yeah. Well, that's really all I got for the restricted section. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I think I went off a little bit already.
Just a
little bit.
Listeners love content, you know. But well, that's pretty much all I got. So, listeners, thank you so much for listening. This was a wonderful episode. I hope you've enjoyed our whole conversation and hope you enjoyed Weasey _the_ Red. Go check her out. And we'll see you guys next week for the final 2 chapters of this book. And we'll be joined by the host of The Fox and the Foxhound, which is another Harry Potter podcast. It's a married couple. And so really excited to talk to them. I remember when I discovered their podcast, they like I've received messages of people commenting on my accent, and I'm like, I have a Southern, like they'll say I have a Southern accent, and I was like, that's crazy that you think that. I guess
That's
you
so
never really
funny.
hear it yourself.
That kind of happens to me, but I have like, I guess, a Maryland accent. And I think that because I'm around a lot of Marylanders and PA people, it doesn't really, like when I went to college in New York, they're like, your accent's kind of weird. I was like, what accent? I'm American.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Like, what do you mean?
I'm listening to you now, and I don't really hear much of an accent. You
Yeah.
know, the only time it's very frustrating because I don't think I have much of an accent except for when I say the word accent. It's like I kind of hear it. So it's
Mine
like
is kind of just like
defeating
when I
argument.
say like home and when I say like oil, I guess. But like if you look up Maryland accent, there's this one YouTube video of
Yes, those boys,
this guy
like
trying to say
earn.
Yes, literally. That's like what everybody
earn.
and like because I think that I'm in hospitality and I kind of have to like take off my accent a little bit. I hear it a lot more in my neighborhood. Like my neighbors are very full on Marylanders. My dad, my parents, like all of these people that I know. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what I sound like? And like I catch it now because like I've been trying to take it out of my vocabulary so that I don't sound weird. But
It's not
just
weird.
like,
Be who you are. Be where you're from. All right. Be proud.
It's more that people can't understand what I'm saying. And it's just like,
that's crazy.
yeah. But I think that my accent used to be a lot harder before I went to college.
People call me out for using y'all, and I'm like,
I say y'all all the time.
It's a word. It's the perfect word. It's you
literally,
plural.
Y'all.
But I bring all that up to say that this Harry Potter podcast, The Fox and the Foxhound, they have, especially the husband they have very strong Southern accents.
I love that.
And it really stood out to me because I was like, I've never heard a Southern Harry Potter podcast before. Like, this is so cool.
That's cool. I love that.
But that's all we got for this week. So, Cory, thank you so much for being on this episode.
You're so welcome.
I had a great time talking to you.
Me too.
And I can't wait for everybody to hear this episode.
Yeah.
Also, it was nice to meet your doggy.
Yes.
But yeah, so goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Retold. Artwork for this podcast was created by Rachel Ortlip. Music was created by Taylor Jarvis. And the Retold podcast is produced by me. That's right. I made this.